Hello and welcome back everyone to Stylized Environments with Blender for Geometry Nodes. In our last lesson, we left ourselves off with a nice setup for the wood going to the side of the roof, and it's going to give us a better support overall. We're now going to continue on moving with the setup and grab ourselves a nice beam going across. Then we're going to start thinking in regards to the walls. So yeah, let's go ahead and actually grab ourselves a piece of wood to go across this section. And yeah, we can just go ahead and grab ourselves a cube, make it smaller, GY, GZ, and just use that to move it, or actually use this gizmo move tool to move it to the side. This way we'll get a much better and easier control. So SX, let's go ahead and move it across like so. Still notice that it's still in the center, so it's easy to scale it up outwards on both directions. And we got to decide how it's going to look like in regards to this supporting the wood on the side. So for this particular case, I think it's going a little bit too much inwards. I'm going to click SX and go like so. Actually, I'm going to hide this out of the way and see how this looks like. Overall, this looks quite nice, and I'm quite happy with the way this is interacting with the framework. So I think that's quite all right. Let's go ahead and actually move on with that. And yeah, let's go ahead and add a wood texture so we could actually see how this looks like. We're going to go with the modifiers, add a bevel, set it to 0.003. It should be quite all right. Let's click Control and A, reset rotation and scale. That's going to give us the right bevel. And now we can go ahead and just simply click Tab, A, U, and Smart UV Project. Click OK with the angle limit that we always use. And there we go. We're going to get ourselves a nice setup. Although the grain is a little bit too thin, it's going to look more, it's not going to give us that rough look that we're looking for basically. So let's go ahead and actually go on to UV editing. Let's find ourselves this log. We can click the dot on the numpad to find it like so. And I'm going to go into edit mode, select it all, click S, and then scale it down till we get the right result. Something like that is actually going to look quite nice. Quite happy with this. Now we need to consider how everything else is going to be joined up. So we can hide this out of the way, and you can see that this needs a bit of support as well. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and select this same section over here, the same cube. And actually, looking at this, yeah, we're going to go ahead and make this a little bit wider, a little bit thicker, just to make sure it's not looking like this framework is wider. So this needs to be quite a bit chunkier. So I'm going to go ahead and hold Alt, select all of these pieces, click Alt and S, upscale it. The texture should still be the same. I'm going to go back onto modeling mode just to see how this looks like. And I'm quite happy with the result, although, yeah, let's go ahead and bring it back so it would be hidden by these sections over here, like so. Nice and easy. And there we go. We now need to bring one to the back as well, which we can do so, I think, by either using the mirror. Yeah, let's go ahead and use it in the mirror. I'm going to actually click Control A, apply all transforms so it would reset the origin point back to this section over here. Then click mirror, like so. And we can just, instead of X-axis, we can use Y. It's going to give us this nice setup. And looking at this, we might, yeah, we need to bring it back a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to hit Control and A to apply the mirror. I'm going to go back and select this. Click L to select this entire section. Click G and Y and bring it inwards like so. So now we have them properly sitting. Now we just need some vertical beams going over here to make sure we are supporting this overall structure. Let's go ahead and actually select this all. We're going to hit Shift D, RZ 90, and there we go. Straight away, we're going to get this sort of a result, which I'm almost happy, but not quite. I'd like to firstly bring them upwards like so. So it would sit right underneath on top of this. We're also going to check if they're not overlapping too much with the other parts. So I don't think they are. They're looking quite nice on both ends, I hope. And this part is not actually being placed properly. So what I'm going to do is, for this particular case, I'm going to select this one end basically. So this part over here, going to delete it, going to reapply the mirror. like so, just to make sure that we have it properly mirrored on both ends. Now they're perfectly mirrored. That's good for us. And I will actually make them a little bit wider, so we'd have a nice overall setup. Actually, looking at them, I would like this to be, I would like this to be going a little bit more downwards and closer to the bottom of these pieces. The reason being is that these pieces are meant to look like they're supporting. We are going to, if we click Alt and H, we are going to have them closer to the wall bits over here. They're going to be going outwards a little bit more. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and select this, go back to edit mode, going to select whichever one it is, going to hit A, GZ, bring them back. So GZ, GX, and something closer to this actually. I think it's going to be much better. Also, we're going to select this piece and click GX, move it to the back a little bit like so. Just thinking how much to the back we need to move it. I think this is quite enough. Going to select this piece at the top and GZ, just make them look a little bit thinner. I think that's looking really nice actually. It's actually nicely sitting at these frames over here. But I'm wondering if we should move them a little bit more down, or if we should make them look like they're going into these parts over here. So let me just think for a second which way we should do it. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and move them inwards like so, and they're going to look much nicer. So we just need to make sure that they're not looking too thin for these chunks, which I don't think they are. I did bring them outwards over here, so it's going to look like it's a nice seam. Maybe I can just even grab both of them over here, click GZ, and drag them out a little bit. We need to make sure we not do it too much, because we unwrap them and we don't want them to be messing up with our textures. So I just brought them down a little bit, just a tiny bit, to make sure that we have a little bit chunkier side over here. It doesn't look like it's going to just break off at any piece, and it has a nice overall support. And quite happy with the result over here. So this part is quite nice. This part over here needs to be going inwards quite a bit. So GY, let's bring them inwards like so. There we go. Now they're sitting nicely on top of one another. We got ourselves a nice frame that's already should be supporting all of these parts. And now we actually, before starting up with the wall, we need to think about how this is going to actually behave as a well. So normally with wells, we'd have a sort of, if I actually bring back this piece over here, we'd have a support that's going in here. So this section would actually be holding a sort of a structure, a cylinder of a sort that would allow you to bring the bucket down and up whenever we want to. So we need to actually implement this into our rooftop to make sure it's actually being nicely supported. So this is what this thick chunk of wood is actually also going to be supporting as well. And let's go ahead and actually create that piece. We're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a nice cylinder over here. We're going to lower the amount of vertices. This is too much for such a cylinder. We can set this up to a value of 12. It's going to be much better. We're going to now click S and scale it down, and GZ, and then GX 90 to rotate it basically this way. We can now click SY and upscale it. And now we can think about how we're actually going to attach this. So ideally, I'd like to have some roof planks covering this section over here. So it's going to basically be covered up this triangle. So this should go like right underneath it over here, and where the wheel is going to be positioned basically. So I'm thinking how actual thick it has to be. So this has to be a little bit higher up, I think. And this has to be a little bit thinner. So let's go ahead and scale it down to something even thinner actually. Keep in mind, this is going to be a stylized setup, so we don't want it to make it too thin. And this is, I think, perfect actually. Let's go ahead and make sure that it actually is touching both ends. So I'm going to click free. I'm going to make sure I click SY and bring it to the section like so. And yeah, this is looking quite nice. Front is going to be less going out. This piece needs to be going with in accordance to this wheel over here. So I'm going to bring this up just to make sure I don't forget. And I'm going to bring this all the way to touch the wheel like so. So now that we have this support, or sorry, the cylinder that will be basically bringing the bucket up and down, we need to find a way to actually support its weight. So we're going to work with more structure. That's going to happen actually in the next lesson. So yeah, that's going to be it from this lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be seeing you in a bit.